Alrighty, it's a sick day for Coach Steve Money, but hopefully I'll still be able to talk fine for an hour. If not, I'll cut it short early. This is the Answering Your Financial Questions Live stream, and we do have audio, so that's always good. And I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you, yes, you are in financial dire straits, if you have money problems or you just want to make sure you are on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me by emailing coachstevemoney@gmail.com. You're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney, and my financial content is right below the Oak Island playlist. Season 13 of Curse of Oak Island starts on this coming Tuesday. But anyway, that financial content includes the Ramsey Show After Show, which I'll be doing all week this coming week. Every single morning at 11:05 a.m. after the newest to YouTube Ramsey show is done at that time, and then that's when I start my stream. And also these Answering Your Financial Questions streams, which are normally at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, but the Washington Commanders will be playing tonight, and so that's why I'm doing it early at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, the music playlist has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in them, including When Your Own Baby Stepped Down. That, of course, is the music from Hootie and the Blowfish, Only Want to Be With You. Let's answer some questions. I think I talked about this briefly or maybe did the whole thing, but it's important, so I'll just go over it one more time. And, of course, challenging lighting here. Now, I could have gone the other way and put the desk back there and done streams from back there where you see, and that's not even all the light you can get from there. I can also turn the kitchen light on, and that bleeds into that area as well where the dining table is right behind me, or way down there behind me. It looks further than it is on camera, but that's that would probably be way too light, and I already have trouble seeing, and so that's why I'm take my glasses off and I can read the screen better, the questions/comments. This is from Scarface 44 Texas TX, I guess. What do you think of this investing strategy? Max a Roth IRA/HSA, paying taxes now, not later, and de-emphasize the 401k. That is sort of what you're supposed to do, but not exactly. The advice from Mr. Ramsey would be to take the match, and I got something to say about that again. Take the match because that's 100% rate of return, so you cannot beat that. Except in the case that I have, unfortunately. I think I still need to redo the math again. But anyway, regardless, for the average person, that is going to be match first and then Roth account. And that would be a Roth IRA, or it can be a Roth 401k. Many people don't realize that there is a Roth 401k, and your company may or may not offer that, though. But if your company offers it, then you can put money in there instead and just max that out. And you may not even, if you don't get up to the maximum of the Roth 401k contributions, which is like what, 23,000, something like that, per year, and the Roth IRA is only 7 or 8,000 a year, depending on if you're a young or an old. So where were we? Match first, then Roth account of any type. You would max that first before the traditional 401k, because the Rothness of it means that you are not paying taxes in retirement. And your financial bros will tell you, oh no, your tax rate will be lower than. You don't know what the tax rate's going to be, first of all. You also don't know what the expenses will be. And you should be paying the taxes now on the very small amount of contributions that you put in compared to the growth if you're in the market for any appreciable time, meaning 10 years or longer. Especially the longer you are in there, that's going to be way more growth. But the problem in my case with the match, the problem is in my case, so even if I were to put in the 6% that I have to put into my work 401k, which is a Roth, you don't have to declare it a Roth. Actually, the way my company has set theirs up, you pick at the time that you put it into the account whether you want to put it into traditional 401k or Roth 401k. So you get to pick that. But the problem is, so I put in the 6% and then they give the 3%, and companies love to do that now for some reason because it makes it sound like it's more money, maybe. I don't know why they say that. But why don't they just say, well, we'll put in 3%? Would do like 3 for 3, but they want you to put more money in. And so they take it down to half of that. You put in 6, and then they will put in 3. So if you put in 3, they will put in 1.5, that kind of thing. But even if I did that, 6K into it a year, or no, 6%, excuse me, into it out of my gross pay, and they put in the 3%. Even with that 100, I do have to do the math one more time just to make sure I'm right. But what it seemed like is even with that 3% added in, it still doesn't, the best option, because we only have like 7 options in there. And I think they're all target date funds. And it seems to be that the case is that even if you add in that 3%, it's still going to be lower than what the things I currently have in my Roth IRA is making. So I do have to do the math again, but we'll get back to you on that once I have done that math again to make sure that that is 100% correct. So I may be missing a step on the math. Just because it's an addition, instead of investing 6%, it's like you're investing 9%. But again, still, if the investments in there don't make as much money, then I think I'm correct in that. But I will 100% get back, and maybe when I'll make a separate video on that, because that's a pretty big deal. If I'm right. If not, I'll just say I was wrong about that. And do take the match, no matter where you are. But that is the case with that. I think there was one other thing I was going to say about that, but I forgot. Give me a break. I'm sick. Well, something else about investing, but I forgot what it was. All right. Specific part 3, 777, H for UTMA account. And I pulled this up because I knew this one was coming. Uniform Transfers to Minors Act. The purpose is a legal way to gift assets to a minor without a formal trust. Can include a wide range of assets such as cash, stocks, bonds, real estate, and intellectual property. Like if you want to, leave a child the Disney Corporation, that kind of thing. You could do that. Or I guess, it had to be intellectual property, which would be an actual franchise. Like, I don't know, Marvel or Um, as far as Disney goes, that would be what can I think of the Toy Story? Um, and the management is done by a custodian, a parent, or an other adult, or a financial institution. Like that may be, it may be a handle to a parent or other adult, would normally probably be a relative, or you can have a financial institution do that, like if it's somebody that has a kid but no other relatives or no other relatives that they trust, and they know they're going to die soon, they may leave that in the hands of the financial institution to manage it until the child is of age. And the minor contains full control of the assets when they reach the age of majority, typically 18 or 21, depending on state law. And apparently, this one in California, you get to decide the age. It says, curious what age you put for an UTMA account to switch to your child's name. I'm in California, Taxifornia, and it is legally 18, but we can postpone it up to 25. Can't be changed once it's set. So curious what you chose. If you are in a state where you can and why. Okay, so I have not done this, of course. But the problem with this is the child may be fine at 18, but also maybe heck of dumb, especially if you are teaching the child now all about how money actually works and such. But your average 18-year-old, not so good with money, probably. And so, but also the problem is postponing it to 25. Some people are worse at 25 than they were at 18, especially if they start making more money and they start, making more money allows you to make more dumb decisions with money at a higher cost. So you don't know in advance, unfortunately. So that would be the problem. I understand, we wanted to keep it safe and, without using a trust. I would get that, but you just don't know. And this is the stuff where people do a lot of times where they are trying to control life from beyond the grave for other people. For the people still here, they're trying to still pull all the strings and control everything. And so you don't know. You don't know either, which it's some kids would be fine at 18, I'm sure, to do that for. Uh, some kids, by the time they get to 25, maybe they'll be fine for it. But also, you'll have the opposite where they'll be, some will be fine at 18, and some people may not ever be fine and will blow that money as soon as they get it, or all those assets and so forth. So you just don't know. So that's the problem with it. And that's also a thing some people talk about doing an ESA, educational savings account, or a state 529 plan for college. The child may not go to college. Now you can transfer that to another family member. Can even be like nephew or something like that, or niece. You can use it for yourself for adult education as well. But that's why some people opt to do just a brokerage account instead, non-tax advantaged, and put it in the market so that it makes more money than just a high yield savings account. And then they can still use the money to go to college. It's just doesn't have to be for college like a one of the ESA or the state 529 plan. Piece of cake. All right, how to pay off debt. Let's see, is this question or somebody telling us how to do that? My husband gets $19,000 per year. I feel like, oh no, that's not the salary. My bad. I was gonna say I feel like that's not enough pretty much anywhere, but per year put into a restricted stock unit account. So if you can opt out of that and get that put into the market instead, you would do that. And of course, do manage mutual funds with it that beat the indexes, because those single stocks too risky. He can take out 25% of the previous year's balance every year. And so, if this 19K is free, then yes, you would say thank you, and you would have them put it into that account. And of course, every single year you take out 20% of that and you sell it, and then you put it into, again, the managed mutual funds that beat the index is. Should we be taking that amount out each year and putting it towards our debt? Yes, you should. You put any other money, that comes in that you can get from anywhere, you put that to your debt on baby step 2. Now, you should not be doing other investing there, and if this is something dependent on you doing other investing, that's going to be a no. But if they are just giving it to you, then you say thank you and you take it. And yes, you should be taking that amount out every year. Or leave it untouched. No, you don't leave it untouched. You don't leave anything untouched in baby step 2 except for your starter emergency fund and already put in retirement account savings. You don't put any more in once you decide to do the Ramsey baby steps and you are in step 2. You don't put any more in, but you don't take a 401k loan out or take it out or liquidate it or anything like that. Currently have 2 car loans, 20k and 15k. Could sell one or both of those cars to make your financial situation better as well and buy a beater. And federal student loans of $30,000. So I mean, I would say if they're just giving you 19k a year, if that's I would imagine this would be probably a close to $100,000 a year salary for the husband here, and a combined, was that 65k in debt. That's not bad on close to 100,000 salary. Of course, I don't know what the person's salary is. The person's salary may take into account this 19k stock options. But see, the stock options as well, and so I think you got to pay that. But again, if they are just giving you the stocks for free, 19k worth of their stocks for free, you say thank you, and then you cash them out as soon as you can. In this case, all you have to do is wait 1 year on that. What would Dave do? Well, exactly what I said, obviously. Should I buy a rental home for my daughter? Okay advice. Well, I'm going to give you better advice than okay advice, because Mr. Ramsey wants you to be better than just okay. A whole bunch of people say that in comments and stuff like that, where people say they want to do this, that's not the Ramsey advice, or this, that's not the Ramsey advice, or that, rather, is what I meant to say the second time. Didn't mean to say this twice. Hashtag dementia. Not today, though, I don't think. Just a little ill. But should I buy a rental home for my daughter? So that means you're going to buy it and have it and rent it to her for maybe cheaper than market rate? Or are you going to buy the rental home and let her rent it and run it as a business? And while you bought it, so unless you're actually, deeding it over, giving it to her, then it's not hers. Then basically you are in business together, and that's a no from Mr. Ramsey on that. Now, if you have a business, daughter can work for you, that's fine. That happens at Ramsey Solutions. She is not the co-owner. She may one day be the owner, but she is not the co-owner as of now. Because there are 2 elder Ramseys that are alive, meaning Dave and his wife Sharon. So, Rachel does work there, but she works for her dad. They are not equals there. But if you are in business together like this is sounding, that's going to be a partnership, and that's a no from anybody. You shouldn't do that with anybody. Too much can go wrong with that, and especially for family and friends, you should not do that. Now, again, family and friends, it's fine if you work for somebody, but not work with, as in being equal owners of it. And of course, needless to say, especially when there's any kind of debt involved. And so, rent, and also rental homes, homes that you buy and rent out, that's a business. That's a business expense. Guess how much Mr. Ramsey advises that you spend on business stuff that's debt? That would be donut. Zero. Daughter will be 19 and graduating. I already answered it. I'll read it anyway, just in case there's something else different in here. My daughter will be 19 and graduating post-secondary in the spring with no student loans. Excellent. And about 10K in savings. Okay. In our area, she could get a starter home for $200,000 to $300,000, but won't qualify for a mortgage as she has no credit right now. That's bullcrap. She may have a problem if she hasn't been paying for anything, if she hasn't been renting somewhere and have the renting history, and she hasn't been, because she's not paying the rental, and she may not be paying the electric bill, the gas bill, water bill, etc., 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 etc. If she hasn't been paying anything and you've been paying for all of that, then she may have a little bit of trouble doing manual underwriting then. But you don't have to have credit. People are so dumb when they say that you do. They just fall in line with whatever the financial bros say and whatever the advertising says from the people that are giving these loans and pushing these credit cards. Quit being dumb. You do not need, again, you do not need a good credit score to buy a house. You do have to have a payment history of some type of at least renting, though, first. Anyway, I'm considering buying a house for her of her choice. Let her make the down payment and mortgage payments through a rent-to-own program that I will hold. This is a no. This is a no. You either give her X amount of money to help her out with buying a house, and then you wash your hands of it and let her go as she will. You do not, again, people trying to control things like this by staying involved with it, and that is not what you should do. Too much can go wrong here. Although it would all be in my name and legally my responsibility. Right, exactly. Which is why you do not take on that risk. No, it doesn't matter if it's your daughter. And everything may be just fine, but also too many calls to Mr. Ramsey where things are not just fine. When she's ready to take over, I'll sell the house to her for the remaining mortgage balance. Worst case, I rent it to strangers, and that is not and hopefully make a profit. That is not the worst case, sir. That is not the worst case here. The worst case here is that you lose a relationship with the daughter. Or, she could do anything to the house, make it unsellable. Who knows? Anything. I don't see a downside because you're not looking for a downside because you think you're doing something that is financial bro-y, probably. I recently paid off my mortgage, so even if she couldn't make a payment, it wouldn't destroy my finances. Well, then buy her a house and give it to her then, idiot. Know that this is very financially responsible, financially responsible kid. Yeah, could be. Guess what? And some people that say that about their kids, they get screwed over by them as well. She has saved almost every dollar she's earned, and it's only been $10,000. She hasn't been working that much, be honest. I can't buy her a house or make her down payment, but I can help her this way. Okay, well then you don't do it then. If this is the only way you can help her, you don't do it. Theoretically, if you paid off your house, you could start saving to give her enough money for a down payment, maybe. But as far as the qualifying, she probably can't, so I got a great idea. She can rent for a while, and while she's renting for a year or two, you can save up money to help her to put towards the down payment. What would Dave say? Dave would say "nar" if he was from Australia. Might. He would say "nar." People are nutty. I mean, it comes from a good place, I'm sure, wanting to help. Uh-oh, we see the lock key right here. That means a lock post. That means something went awry in these 241 comments. And the more comments that there are, the more likelihood that there's going to be something going awry in there. Ivan Kara Amazov. 99. Okay. I think there's some Russian happening there. Wonder if Black Widow knows this person. She, of course, was Natalia Romanoff. Paying off your low-interest mortgage early isn't dumb. That much is certain. It's not. And people don't want to do that because they say, oh, that low interest on the house is like 2% and I can make 10% in the market. That's debt leverage. You're debt leveraging your house in order to have more money in the market. And that's going to be a no. I don't even need to read this because that's all the person is going to say, probably. So, and that is the advice. That's all that you got to worry about. You don't have to worry about the different reasons that prove that it's not dumb. If you think that debt leverage is the way to go, then Mr. Ramsey is not for you, apparently. Or at least his advice isn't. Financial Airport 72, fully funded emergency fund for your baby. Step 3, fully funded emergency fund. Are you using your total monthly expenses? You should not be doing that. You do not include things like your investing, because if there was an emergency, you would stop investing. So you're not doing that. You're not doing investing. You stop investing. Emergency qualifies for you to stop investing and pile up that cash instead. And anything else that's not a necessary monthly expense. You still need your housing, you still need your electricity, water, gas, maybe, unless you have electric heat, food, etc. The things that you need, 100% need, it should all be 100% need stuff. That is what you base your fully funded emergency fund on, because that's all you would need to pay if there was an emergency. You're stopping everything else. Deleted. Didn't like the answers. Got too hot in the comments, 53 of them. Snowball versus avalanche method, sure. And it's snowball is the answer here. And again, if you want to try to be a financial bro and make your money decisions based solely on what the calculator says, knock yourself out. That's not going to be the Ramsey way. The Ramsey way is smallest to largest, not the largest interest first, because those are often the biggest loans, and those take longer to pay off the first one if you're doing it by that method. And most people will jump off of the debt-free train unless they get quick wins faster, which is what the debt snowball does. Again, this is about behavior, not math. And so what the calculator says does not rule the day in the Ramsey verse. Frivolity, flourish. So sorry. Feel much better than I did this morning, though. Got to love the NyQuil, or rather the Equate, the Walmart brand. of the NyQuil, which is much cheaper and does the same thing. Everyday app, is there a way to have an account for a bi-monthly paycheck? I don't know about that. I don't use it. I only use it very short time, probably less than a week, because it didn't do what I wanted it to do, and so I went back to my spreadsheet that could make do what I wanted it to do. Homebody 63, planning for tax implications from matured savings bonds. Okay, plan for it. What's the question? We have $10,000. Whoops, I don't know what I was doing there. Dementia setting in, maybe. You would think by now it would be what's it called? Behavior. Like learned behavior. Like I would automatically, anytime I see a $1,000 number, it would be like $10,000. And savings bonds that are making little or no interest, well, they should have already been out of savings bonds and into a different thing then. Basically, whatever baby step you're on. So if you're on baby step 2, they would go to baby step 2. You should not have $10,000 in any type of savings while you're on baby step 2. That's a no. The proper amount to have in savings would be $1,000. And saving bonds that are making little or no interest, they have fully matured. I would love input on what we should do with it and how we might be able to reduce our tax implication. We are 60 years old, owe $35,000 on our home, 4.7% interest. Yeah, you would put it to that if you are on baby step 6. Most of our saving is in 401k and traditional IRA. Thanks in advance. I'd have to know what baby step you're on to tell you, but you put that money, you take that out of those freaking savings bonds where they're making very little or no interest, as you said, and you put all of it to whatever baby step you're on, unless there's money left over after you complete whatever baby step you're on. So if that'll pay off the last of your debt, then you're debt free and you're in step 3, and the rest of it you would put in to start your full emergency fund. So it all depends on what step you're on. If you're on step 4, 5, and 6, and you're already doing steps 4 and 5, or maybe 5 is not applicable there since they are older. So if you're doing 4 and 5, sounds like they have 401k and IRAs. So they probably are doing step 4 correctly. Hope so. And yeah, like I said, 5 might not apply at age 60, and so they definitely would have to do step 6 as well. So they're doing step 4 already, should be the 15% of gross income, so they don't have to add any more to that. That would not be the advice. The advice would be to put extra, and that's extra, to the mortgage. So all of it would go to the mortgage if they were on baby steps 4 and 6. Knows representative, how much cash do you keep in your wallet? Dave said he keeps $1,000 in his wallet, calling it his redneck emergency fund. LOL. What about you guys? Do you even keep cash or just debit cards? There's some kind of, I'm a redneck. Oh, this is just a website that picked up the quote or story that Dave keeps $1,000 in his wallet. And yeah, and you do that if you do what he does, which is leave big tips and also give money away, as much as I believe he probably does. So, I mean, if he sees a homeless person, if he sees a hungry person or something like that, he's probably kicking some cash their way. And so, but I don't. I recently got $2 in the mail for doing a survey. If you do it, you get more money, but I didn't feel like doing it, so I just kept the $2, and so I had that in my wallet for a little while. But other than that, I don't carry cash around at all. Have not for over 10 years now. Trying to think if there was a case. I think there was like one case. I can't remember what it was though. I think it was one case where I did take out like a couple $100. It might have been when I moved to Arkansas might have been. I did not do that for moving back to um, Ohio though. So it might be like a, where like, so, maybe sometimes you might need something where they don't have, uh, you know, they don't take cards, but that generally doesn't happen to me. I don't, I don't buy too much stuff like off of hardly any, like none at all for many, 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 many years from like on the Craigslist or anything like that, where you would be exchanging cash for the good. Function 1249, 900K net worth at 31. Excellent. I know this isn't a lot to many. That's a lot of money, man. That's almost, dare I say it, $1 million. But it's a lot to me, and I sometimes can't believe it myself. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I don't really have anyone to share this with outside of my wife, so I thought I'd share it here. Great. And that's good. That should tell, instead of, and unfortunately, some people, when they are worse off than you, they will just be jealous of you but instead, what I do and recommend to others is look at it the other way. If this person did it, then you can too, or you can at least do better than you're doing. And stop making excuses. This person somehow got there. This person didn't make excuses to not do that. This person was not, did not let like material goods dissuade him from using like $200,000 on something on a freaking high cost car. He didn't do that. No, he saved the money by having the net worth. I mean, some that could be mostly house as well, and that's fine too. I thought I'd share it since we got here following a mostly Dave Ramsey plan. Back started working construction. Wife is a nurse. We currently make $145K a year combined, but it was much less just a few years ago. Went in trades right out of high school at 18 and started saving about 80% of my paycheck while living at home with mommy and daddy. Around age 21, I learned about index funds and started putting all my extra money in the S&P 500 index fund. And guess what happened? Well, I don't know how old is this person now? 31. So that was 10 years ago. Yeah, over the last 20 years, the NASDAQ has beaten the S&P 500 index fund. So just running to the S&P 500 index is a mistake. You're leaving money on the table there, as I always say. And of course, you shouldn't do index funds at all. It should be managed mutual funds. They can make more, and there are some that make more. You just have to take a second and look and apply yourself and make an effort, and then you can find them and use them and make more than the indexes. Doesn't making more sound good? I lived very, 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 three varies frugally when in my early 20s. And just kept saving. Bought a small house at age 24. Okay, got out of mommy and daddy. Good. And continued to live frugally and rotated between investing as much as possible and trying to pay my house off. And because you did it that way, guess what happened? It takes longer to do both then. Your delay, you should be doing 15% of investing and all the extra put to the house. If no kids, for saving for college. We got the mortgage balance down to about 80K, and I've since stopped paying extra to it. Dumb. You should still be putting extra to it. We have enough liquid to pay it off at any moment, but with the low rate, I want to keep it invested. And this is your mostly Dave Ramsey, because he would not say to debt leverage by doing this. He would not say you don't use a calculator here. You use your riskometer, which calendars do not have a riskometer built in. There's no risk button on that. If you pay off your house, it is paid off, and that is the idea. And that is less risk than having a mortgage on it. Currently, we have about 575K in stocks. Should not have single stocks. Maybe he means the S&P 500. Don't know. 325 home equity. All right. The only handouts I would say I received was my parents bought me a used $10,000 car when I was 16, and I still drive it. Excellent. That's 15 years old, babe. Of course, I have a 20-year-old car. Have not had it that long. Though I've had it 6, 7 years. I can't remember. Bought it for less than $2,000. And what did I have to do? Outside of maintenance on it, I had to originally put a new muffler on it. And then like 3 or 4 years ago, had to do $800 new brake lines because they were all rusted up. We have 2 vehicles now, and the newest one is 18 years old. I strongly believe buying a very nice car in the early 20s is a huge mistake. You're correct about that. I actually did just this and sold it because I saw how it was killing my tiny paycheck. Okay, so you learned very quickly that. A lot of people don't do that. They buy the expensive car and they see it taking most of the paycheck, and then they don't change it. They think they're stuck with it at that point, and they're not. Anyway, I look back and now realize all the frugality was worth it. Indeed. I also would like to note here, there is a lot of luck involved, and I acknowledge that. Not really. Not really. Some would say you make your own luck. Maybe a little. But anyone can make their finances better by following the Ramsey advice. And I know you didn't all the way. And you may not do it up to this net worth at 31, but you will still make it better than it is if you do not follow his advice. As we all know, the market returns have been amazing this last decade. Indeed. And it turns out, we bought our house right before the market went insane, so our mortgage is very reasonable. We're very fortunate in that regard. Right, that was good timing. And so if you want to call that luck, fine. But we don't go by just the last 20 years on the market. You're looking at long term. It should be at least 10 years, or you said decade, so it should be at least the 10 years when you're evaluating a mutual fund. But you can also look back from the beginning of time and get that entire average as well. Alrighty, so yeah, and of course, as usual, can't tell your friends or family about it because then they would have hands out or they would think about you differently. Oh, you're a Richie, or money bags, stuff like that. There was I can't remember if it was I think it was a call. It's call or email where somebody paid off all their debt and then their family started calling them money bags. The parents. Apparently, if the caller or the emailer was to be believed, the parents coached their children to always call these people money bags, like they should pay for Disneyland and stuff like that. Baby step 2. What is this? Joyful in North Carolina. Joyful in NC. Baby step 2. Late 50s, guardian for special needs son. Is a HELOC for critical home repairs ever justified? No. Baby step 0 is one of the parts of that is you decide you're not doing debt anymore. So you take that off the table, you find some other way. And I find that a lot of people that need to do critical home repairs, they're not critical. So critical is in the same line as we needed to remodel the bathroom. No, you didn't. You needed to fix the leak, of the faucet. You did not. That did not mean you needed an entire new bathroom. Oh, good follow-up question. I'm spending about 2,200 per month either way. That's not justification for going into debt. Now, you can spend the money fine to do repairs, but you cash flow it like that instead of borrowing the money in advance. No, 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 and no. The time you don't tap your equity of your house. The time you do that is when you sell it because you're moving, either moving down to an apartment or or a cheaper house because you don't need a big house anymore. Like if once you get old and your children leave, that kind of thing, or if you're moving up in house. When you sell it, that's when you get the equity. No HELOCs. That is debt. That's a no from Mr. Ramsey. Is there many difficulties financially on risk-wise between getting a small loan to fix and keep my house versus renting for 2,200 or buying another place with a 2,200 mortgage? None of them would be the advice. You make your house work by cash flowing it. Eddie, meant to say home equity, second mortgage, not a HELOC. It's the home equity slash second mortgage. It's that's basically the same thing. You're still borrowing against your house either way, no matter what you want to call it. This is like you're talking about a cash out mortgage. That's basically. Hi everyone, long time. Oh, okay, and this is the actual question. So none of the things that are written is going to change that. Plan to work to 70 to 72. Work on, indeed. But again, I would have to see what these critical home repairs are. People also say, they say things like, we needed to buy a new car. No, you didn't. If you needed a car, it didn't have to be brand new. So, no, you didn't. You're lying. You wanted to. You chose to would be acceptable words for that, not need. People are nutty. They overuse the word need. Also use the word toxic for like work situations. Just because you have bad, just because there's something you don't like at work doesn't mean it's a toxic environment. Because not everything is just the way. You don't get to control everything. Big John OG. All right, life sucks sometimes. Please be prepared, of course. If there's anybody that never has a bad day, I don't think there is one. Because even if they are generally very lucky, and even if they don't have any money problems or something like that, there's still going to be bad things that happen to you. I have finally decided to post this. Maybe it will help someone. Too long didn't read. 8 months ago, I entered into baby step 3. Okay. I'm still grinding, trying to build my 6-month emergency fund because of a broken fridge. And this can happen. This can happen sometimes. So since starting baby step 3, broken fridge, truck issues, son tore his ACL, other son was in the hospital for 16 days, and now I'm unemployed. Okay, guess what? Guess what? You are better off now from having had the emergency fund that you had already put together. It doesn't sound like it ever got full to 6 months, but you still had it. You were better off by having some of that and no debt to handle these situations. You were still better off. But of course, to think that you're immune from broken fridges, truck issues, ACL tears, hospital visits, and unemployment. I mean, that is a run of bad luck. You could maybe write a country song from that. That is a run of bad luck indeed. Partial emergency fund saved me, right, from going back into baby step 2, right? And so that should never be the answer. You need to find another way. And that's, again, deciding to do that is part of baby step 0. And it's given me so much financial peace. Great. Kids are fine now. I'm recovering, and I will rebuild my emergency fund after I get over this last hump. Unemployment. Yeah. And you need to get a job. including if it's one you think you're too good for. And of course, you can still look for a better job while you're making money doing that job. And hope life leaves me alone for some time. Some time in this case would be 2 words. The long 8 months ago. Oh, this is going to be the whole thing. Okay, that would. Thanks for doing a TLDR for me. The too long didn't read. Appreciate it muchly, because that told me everything I need to know. Fairly certain. Tech Dog 19. Thanks, Dave. My condo just not conduit. Condo just levied a special assessment, not huge, but 4 or 5 years ago it would have been a crisis. But thanks to Dave, I am not happy to have one, but it isn't a big deal. I have the money in my bank, so thank you, Dave. He just gave you the suggestion. You're the one that did it, so thank yourself as well. Give yourself a pat on the back for that, if you can reach it, if you can reach your back. I can't with this arm because still not as much range in that one. Yeah, see, I can do a much better job with this one. But fractured humerus 2 years ago. Yeah. Could go a little bit longer tonight since I haven't been doing stuff this week. The plan is, and that should happen due to my work schedule and some paid time off days that I'm taking that I just found out about, because I thought they didn't kick in until 6 months. Guess what? It kicks in until at 3 months. How about that? So yeah, and you have to take them by the end of the year. They don't roll over, so I'll be taking at least one a week. I'm taking 2 this coming. Right at the time that imagine that the 1 hour preview episode of Curse of Oak Island comes on, and then the 2 hour premiere right after that. And so I will be doing no cap recaps on those, and so that worked out. Tow commercial 7111, saving for retirement when you and your partner. I don't like the partner thing. Have it be a spouse, or at least say boyfriend, girlfriend. And then I know I know it's boyfriend, girlfriend, then we say we don't combine, we don't live together, we don't combine finances. Start investing for retirement. You calculate 15% of your gross income, correct? Yes, you would be doing 15% of yours. She would be doing 15% of hers, or vice versa. Don't know which person wrote this, but both spouses would be doing that. And the problem that people have a lot of times is they think if one does 15 and the other does 15, then that's 30%. No. 15% of one plus 15% of the other is 15% of household, not 30%. So do you calculate 15% of her income and 15% of your income and put it into separate Roth IRAs, or do you just put everything into one account? Good question. No, she needs to have you cannot do that. You could, but to get the most out of a Roth, which is only going to be, if you're not old yet, you can only put $7,000 a year in that. Or something like that. 7,500 maybe? I can't remember what they raised it to. I think like in the last 10 years or something like that, I think they raised it twice. So I think it's 75 and 8,500 now. I can't remember. Or it might be 7,000 and yeah, I think it's 7,000 because I think it was originally 6,000 and 7,000, I believe. And now it's, after being raised twice, it's up to 7 and 8 now. 8 for if you're 50 years or older, which that's me. I'm the problem. It's me. So that may be one issue there. So each doing separate one lets you put more money in there. And of course, if your company does not offer a Roth 401k and a regular 401k, you would be you would be prioritizing the Roth IRA first anyway. So yeah, you both have separate ones, not just one of yours. Maybe step 4 flare there. Emergency fund account. How much do you keep in your emergency fund? It doesn't matter what amount it is. Again, it's 3 to 6 months of your personal expenses. And again, an expense, it's only necessary, 100% necessary expenses. Like the things that you will not be partaking of while you are having the emergency would be investing. What else? Excessive eating out. What else? Any other thing that's not 100% necessary to live, you live without because it's a freaking emergency, right? That's the definition of emergency. It's not a fun time where you just keep on going status quo. Lo-Fi Starforge. All right. What do you think is the breakdown of Ramsey followers? Interesting. Let's see. I've basically met 2 types of Ramsey followers in real life. Let's see if I can think of a different one. They found Dave because of debt types and the people who were never in serious debt but interested in personal finance. Okay. Let me see if I can think of another one before that. But yeah, the people that have debt and get in trouble with it and are having money problems, I think those would be the most likely. So I would say that's a good 75% or more, even maybe even up to 90%. Even though Dave is the debt guy, I've realized over the years 90% of the people I know who Ramsey types are the latter group. Interesting. So they were just interested in personal finance and came across them. All right. I still am going to stick to my guesses. I would say at least 75% and as much as 90% are the ones that are in money trouble and not just interested in doing things better. They're in trouble and interested in doing things better. I know who Ramsey types are the latter group. What? I know who Ramsey types are in the latter. I don't know what that means. It makes me think of the behavioral, I think, research studies on debt accumulation, even when they pay it off and get it paid to go back to accumulating it. Right. That's your debt leveragers. That's your reward point people. My cashback people. My experience is getting handed the Ramsey book when I was 16 and set me up very well financially. Great. So theoretically at 16 you wouldn't have had any debt. I did at 16. My father dumbly, and of course I went into it dumbly as well. My father co-signed for a car for me. That would have been a 1984 Chevrolet Chevette. It was gold in color. So dumb. Of course, I did pay that completely off. I didn't leave my dad having to pay it off. And let's see, it set me up very well financially, although I have to be honest. To be honest, I always say you have to be honest. Why don't you just say the extra thing without doing an honesty disclaimer? It's virtue signaling, and that is way too prevalent among the young. And I'm sure they think things are calling that out or is way too prevalent among me, I'm sure. I was already interested in this stuff at a young age. Great. I do wonder if I would have been fine naturally. Well, fortunately, you don't have to think about that. So this means you got too much time on your hand if you're thinking about that. There's certainly better things you can spend your time thinking about. I think about dumb stuff sometimes too, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I guess it would be interesting to know if you would have been fine naturally, but it really doesn't matter because you can't go back in time and do it. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, maybe you in some multiverse knows, some different universe knows, but you don't really have to. So as far as another one, let's see, looking in personal finance, are the debt types? Yeah, I can't really think of anyone else. Like somebody that doesn't have any debt but does want to know how to do, better finance. Like they may have mortgage debt, and so they maybe wondering how to pay that off, but and that wouldn't be not the same as step two debt. So yeah, I would say those are the two main types. There might be a small percentage of people that just wanted to learn how to invest, and they had heard of Dave Ramsey as being a financial guy before. And so that might be a very, very small percentage. I would say like maybe 1 or 2% on that. Those are just guesses, of course. I don't know. I'm not AI. You have to search on the online for that. Specific part 3777, invest or save for a down payment on a house or boat. It's up to you. Now, if you live in a high cost of living area and you don't make a high cost of living salary, then you probably have to stop investing or not even start investing. And you can do that up to 3 years while you save a larger down payment faster. And so that's fine with Mr. Ramsey to do that for up to 3 years. After 3 years is gone, whether you have enough money or not for a house that you want to have, you need to start investing again. Or you could do some people choose to do like up to the match and get the match and then everything else put towards the down payment. There's those people. And there's people that do 50-50 as well. So it all depends on your priorities. You are the one that gets to choose that. And that's, that's great. Because a lot of things in the baby steps, you don't get to choose or you're not following it. On here, you get to choose what you want to do as far as the balance between these two. And you are still following the baby steps correctly. We have just under 6 months of expenses saved up for our emergency fund. Great. Let's finish that first before we start doing the down payment. 15K in a high yield savings account and 5K in our savings. They have the emergency fund split up, I guess. We are thinking about adding more to our high yield savings account and keeping less in our savings, but that's not my question. Okay, definitely bring it up for no reason then. I know Dave recommends investing 15% of your income for retirement. He does indeed. But we currently rent and are saving up for a down payment on a house. Should we invest through retirement while saving for a down payment or hold off on investing for retirement until we buy a house? My husband is in the union, so he gets a pension and annuity right now, but nothing additional that we have open. Any insight is welcome. Thanks. Well, first of all, you should not think that the pension and the annuity are enough. Now, maybe it will be. Maybe it will be equal to what the market would make if 15% of his gross income was in there. Maybe it would be. So, but because pensions suck and annuities suck, Mr. Ramsey is only going to give you half towards that percentage. So if you're putting 15% into a pension, that only counts as 7.5 towards the 15. So you would have to put 15% of your gross into that pension and an additional 7.5 into the market, like in a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k. Any insight is welcome. All right. And so, again, I don't know why. I mean, there's so much on YouTube. There's so much on the internet in general. I don't know why you ask in a forum like this instead of just Googling it. Now, a Reddit forum is good for, it's great, I've found, for things which you can also Google and be pointed to Reddit if it applies to you with your search terms. Like, for example, if you just bought a computer of a certain model and you're of a certain problem with it, if you put the computer model and the problem that you're having in there, there could be a subreddit on particular, maybe that brand of computer or just the tech support subreddit, and there could be an answer for you on that. But again, just always asking in here instead of just Googling it always blows my mind. Why people would do that. Asking their fellow Redditor. I mean, you don't know the answer to this, so why would you assume that the next Redditor does? Although I'm sure some of the Reddit people would know that, of course. I very seldom post like an answer on here. Every once in a while when I get so moved. But I, of course, do use these for questions because these are great questions, but I would just Google it instead. But the answer is you get to decide. It all depends on your priorities. If house is priority, don't invest for 3 years or fewer. It just don't invest until you get the amount of money you want for that down payment. That's a promotion. That's an ad, basically, is what that means. What time is it? 6:50 Gilded Gains. Okay. Now, so you see, if this is supposed to be guild like this is guild like a group is a guild. Like you have in certain, I don't know. Massively multiplayer online role-playing games like World of Warcraft and Rift, you would have guilds, and that's, a group of people. If it's supposed to be gold that you're talking about, that would be a GI. There's no U in that. And so, interesting. Don't know which one this person meant. Should take a 401k loan to pay off debt. That's going to be a no. We probably don't need to know any of this. Let's skim it. Hey everyone, wife and I have a considerable amount of debt. 2 cars, 16K apiece, 6%, 10K student loan. See, none of this affects the fact that you do not do that. You stop contributing to 401k. And you put that money towards baby step 2 instead to pay off your debt. But you do not take anything that's already in there because there's penalty, and that's too much. And that's too much. So you shouldn't have put that money in there in the first place while you had debt. Because that's step 2, investing is step 4. So you're doing it wrong, and you may have been doing it wrong because you weren't aware of the Ramsey advice. But that's tough crap. Guess what? When you start following the Ramsey advice, this is what you're with. You have to undo all the dumb crap you did. So the 2 cars at 16K a piece, you could sell one or both of them and get beaters to make your financial situation better. Taking 401k loans, you don't do loans to pay off other loans. That's dumb as crap. We have almost 70K in a 401k, so we could take out nope, and not pay the bank interest, nope, and instead pay ourselves interest. The stock market seems overbought anyway. I love the people that say that. How do you know? How do you know that you hear that, it seems artificially overbought now. It seems overbought now. It seems overbought now. How do you know that this is not what it should be? And all along, while it was trying to get up to this level, it was underbought. How do you know what it's supposed to be? You don't get to decide what the exact amount is. How about you let the market take care of itself, and it'll go up and down as it wants to go, because we don't control it. I don't control it either. Even if this is supposed to be the right amount in it, it's only gotten there now. But there's nothing you can do about that. So that doesn't matter. And so quit trying to say something to justify your dumb crap. And these outrageous returns can't continue to happen. Bull crap if they can't. I mean, the market is going to go down at some time. That's going to happen for sure. But for the rest of the year, it can't go up. Yes, it can. I know Dave doesn't recommend cashing out a 401k, and he doesn't recommend 401k loans either, which you should also know. What does he think about this idea? It's the same as cashing out. No, and no. We make 155k before taxes combined would be the right word. So we won't be in consumer debt long. Anyway, yeah, oh yeah, with making that, by that logic, then, see, people are so dumb. By that logic, you would have already been out of debt. However, I just hate paying these greedy banks interest. You're the one that's greedy by taking out all the loans to get whatever you wanted right away. You're the greedy one. Shut up. People are so dumb. I gotta know what other dumb crap here. Oh, there's not much. No, that's it. When it could be going to my family, it could have all along, but you were too greedy, and it's locked, of course. Didn't realize that. How many? Oh, only one. Only one. Interesting. I wonder if somebody on here was bad, and because they did post on here recently, it's a sticky up at the top and was also in with the other ones that said, hey, it's not that hard to follow the rules. And the rule is you give the Ramsey advice first, and then you weigh in with your dumbass opinion. They didn't say dumbass opinion, but then you weigh in with your opinion on it. But first you give the Ramsey advice. And so maybe they deleted it, the other ones, other than this no, because they wanted to leave that, because that's funny to put that there. And that's the advice. No, yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Roman Empire, 71.99. All right. Roman Empire was not around in that year. Maybe Roman Empire through Roman Empire 7198 were taken already. No. Moving back home with family to save for a down payment. Everybody wants to run back and live with mommy and daddy. Not advised by Mr. Ramsey. I feel like, for me, a lot of what Ramsey teaches is outdated but still relatable. It's not if it still works, it's not outdated, dog. And it still works. Quit being dumb. One thing I wish they would put a second thought into is moving back home with family or staying. It's because it's what you want to do or what you think is best. And guess what? What you want to do and what you think is best doesn't matter to anybody except yourself. Right? So you can have that little opinion of yours, knock yourself out with it. I don't care. No, who cares? You know, I mean, people read this to get other people's opinion, but as far as you overvaluing your opinion is crazy. And I don't take, I don't have any, I don't overvalue my opinion on it. I just agree with Dave on all of his advice because it's been proven for 30 years, 20 million documented success stories for following his advice. So your little opinion means nothing compared to that. Let's see. Anyway, moving back home with family or staying with home family longer. You're just mad because you did it or you want to do it and you feel like you're personally attacked or something like that. For a house, I understand the reason why they want you to move out early on when you graduate college, spend 6 months at home, and then move out because things hit differently when you're out on your own. Right. You are protected. You are not spending all of the money on, you don't know how much things cost. You might not even be going out and buying any groceries at all. So you don't know what anything costs. So that's dumb. When you have to depend on yourself, you might make different decisions financially. Yeah, and that's the idea. And then you would be in better shape to buy a house if you've already done that by renting. So then you know what everything else costs. Also understand why they don't want you living at home, because it could get in the way of your dating life. And yeah, so why even post this? Oh my goodness gracious me, look at that. That's too much to read. I don't care. I don't care about your opinion about it. You can have whatever opinion you want about it. you can say it as well as you can tell anybody that'll listen to it, but that's not the Ramsey advice. Is the simple answer here. That's the short answer here. That's not the Ramsey advice. So, and it's just your little opinion, and you have no success stories to back it up, unlike Mr. Ramsey. Sarah here now, frequent contributor here. Sorry, just a rant. Used to help my mom out. She never works, but would have extravagant spending, but would never use what she would buy, I guess, instead of but here. What she would buy. She would get expensive. Hey, Sarah, there's a thing called a period. There's things called punctuation. But she would get expensive coats, bags, jewelry, but dress normally and never use it. Interesting. I stopped helping her when she went on holiday and lied to me that she didn't have money for food. I go, yep, okay. Yep. And that's when, paging Dr. Cloud, paging Dr. Cloud. Dr. Henry Cloud wrote a book called Boundaries, and that's definitely what you probably needed to have in place with mom before it got to that point even. The second you saw that, that's when you started going, By helping these people out like this with money, you are just enabling their bad behavior, so you don't want to do that. If they are going to be enabled, you want it to not be something like you. And look, Roman Empire 7199 again. Is this his little opinion on the moving back home? Yeah, okay. Does he have another little opinion about the Ramsey advice? Let's see. My question is, how do you figure out how much your emergency fund should be if you don't really have any bills right now? Yeah, see, that's the problem. You don't know what things cost because you live at home with mommy and daddy. I mean, you're talking about moving back home, but are you the one that you were talking about previously? In the example you were talking about, you were saying moving back home, or you never left home yet. So if you were already in the real world, you know what things cost, so base it on that. My 6-month emergency fund would be around $7,000 right now. I'm saving for a down payment for a house, so with that in mind, do you bump up your emergency fund now, even though maybe you're so out from buying? Yes, you would have your full emergency fund for what you would need to move out into the real world if you're living with mommy and daddy now. I do recommend the 6 months, because when you take on added risk when you get on a mortgage, as far as things going wrong with the house, because there's no landlord to call to fix things. You have to fix stuff. So you should have a 6-month emergency fund before you even start saving for the down payment. Do I just estimate what my potentially monthly expenses would be with a mortgage, utilities, internet, etc.? It would need to be closer to $20,000 a month, or the whole thing. Oh, the monthly expenses, $20,000 a month. $20,000 a month. All right, probably talking about that's what the emergency fund would be, not $20,000 a month. So stated it incorrectly. So how about we state things correctly instead of just posting stuff like disagreeing with Ramsey before asking one, which means you don't know crap. Baby step 3, Flair, and yes, you get step 3 done before you start on baby step 3B. That's how that works. Steps 1, 2, and 3, one at a time, and then 3B as well. 3B and 4 can happen at the same time, and you get to choose the balance of that. And so if you are investing now, you can stop that to save for a larger down payment faster. And if you Googled it, you would probably find that out. Or if you YouTube searched Dave Ramsey investing / down payment, and it might have a video of him talking about it on there. Should I pay off my Australian student loans? Yeah. Joey 1038. Joey is also a baby kangaroo. Kangaroo? What's a kangaroo? a kangaroo. Sorry, was I trying to mix it with caribou? I don't know. A baby kangaroo is a Joey. I owe 50 bloody K Australian dollars in student loans, known as HEX/HELP. The government is taking 20% off soon as an election promise. Soon. Election promises. Did that person win? First of all, that has to happen first, babe. And then guess what? Guess what happens in government? When they're running, they can say they're going to do all kinds of crap, and then guess how much percentage that does? That happens. Not that much of it. Because also the problem is they just can't do it in the form of like the United States, an executive order the president can do and do a lot of stuff that way, but some stuff has to go through Congress and they don't have any say on that. Probably more in the future. The interest on the loan is inflation or the wage price index, whichever is lesser. Okay. There are mandatory minimum payments on the debt as part of tax. If I die, the debt is forgiven. Okay, that's that's not the way to pay it off. I would not suggest that as a way to pay it off. I would make a different plan in case you live. How about that? And doesn't come out of my state. I know it's a cardinal sin according to Dave Ramsey, but I feel like there's no reason to pay this loan off any faster than the minimum payments. That's debt leverage. Perhaps the loan terms here are so good to make an exception. No. See, and let me tell you, Mike, okay, put another shrimp on the bobby and we'll talk about it. That's the thing about the Ramsey advice. There are no exceptions. Your little situation doesn't change the advice. Why would it? Why would it? You signed up for the loan so you pay it back. How about we do that instead of having the taxpayers do it for you? They didn't sign their names on your loan, you did. And you should also be mad about other people getting forgiveness from your tax money. And Australia is already crazy with the economy there already. So that's going to be a no. And perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's not good enough to make an exception because there never are. You're dumb. Your little situation doesn't matter. What's next? Hovercraft Fragrant. My wife and I, both 32, make $230,000 a year. I have no debt. Sorry. Outside credit cards that we pay off every month. How about a little agua? Outside credit cards that we pay off each month. And of course, that means what, audience? You're doing it wrong. That's right. You're doing it wrong. And if you don't believe me, how about we believe Mr. Camel?
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
No. He only said it once, to be fair. I duplicated it twice more, so it's 3 times altogether. And I like that one better than just the single him saying it, but that was pretty cool. He also recently said something else that I say a lot, but I can't remember what it is. So I'm not saying that he's watching, but you never know. Maybe he thought of it too. That happens. Sometimes comedians think of the same jokes. Credit cards that we pay off each month, so you're doing it wrong. And max out our Roth IRAs each year. That part is correct. If you'd have no debt, which every time you use the credit card, that means you have debt. So you shouldn't be doing Roth IRAs at that point until the end of the month when you pay it off. And then you would be back in step 3 or 4, however dumb way you're doing it. So, but you shouldn't be doing any of that in that way. You should just not use debt and have your full emergency fund and then invest. We both contribute our company matches to our 401ks and have an 18-month emergency fund. You're doing it wrong. It should be 6 months. You're doing it wrong. That's too much money just laying around, even in a high yield savings account. That should be put to whatever baby step you're on. And what baby step are you on? I mean, step 2, because you keep using credit cards. Buying our first home in the next couple of years. And starting a family as well. So if there's anything we should consider doing aside from saving our 20% down payment, we're all ears. What would Dave do Flair here? What would Dave do Flair here? He would not do your dumb crap of using that. Of using credit cards that you pay off every month. People think that's fine because they're doing it. They want to think it's fine. That is still debt the second that you use it until you pay it off. It's still debt. You're still using debt. Part of baby step 0 is you decide you're not using debt anymore other than for your mortgage for a house you live in. No mortgages on rental property. So what you can consider doing, you can consider not investing at all while you save a larger down payment faster. It's up to you. That balance, again, between investing and doing that. And also what you should be doing aside for that, not using freaking credit cards anymore. Stop that dumb crap. That's direct from Mr. Ramsey. Forced to withdraw my withdrawal. That would be withdraw, would be the verb on that. No L on that. And also, a withdrawal is an E in there as well. I know it doesn't sound like it the way people say it, withdrawal. It's withdrawal, L, withdrawal. My pension at 23. Do I pay off my debt? Yes. Any extra money from any source goes to the paying off the debt. Let's see why he has to withdraw. 23, and recently accepted a position in another city. I'm currently part of state government pension plan that requires 5 years to vest, and once vested, withdrawals are no longer possible. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Until you get them for retirement, I guess. Since I'm relocating to a state that doesn't support this plan, I've decided to withdraw my pension. Contributed for 3 years and can withdraw about 20. See, that's it. Withdraw. See, you did it there. It should be the same as this withdraw right here. Forced to withdraw. About $20,000 includes employee. That's fine. Does have the tax pay on it. However, I will receive a 1099-R right for the little bit that it went up. Shouldn't have gone up that much because it's a freaking pension. My G job will pay $6,000 and manage 20% employee retirement contribution with a full employer match. Wow. Mandatory 20 and you get 20? That's not bad at all. Is that some kind of government thing? That might be another government thing, maybe local government, but still, that's not bad at all, man. I mean, if your job requires it, there's not much you can do. Like, for example, teachers have to mandatorily put money in to contribute to pension, and it comes out of every check. And so that's why pensions are not on the list. Teachers are on the list, on the number 3 on the list of millionaire professions, partly because they are forced to contribute to retirement, and secondly because Mr. Ramsey says that it is secondly because of they have to have like a lesson plan, so they're more plan oriented, and so that helps with having a higher net worth. Meaning I'll be saving a substantial portion of my income for retirement. I don't need to read this. Yes, it would go into that. It would go into that, and because you shouldn't be doing any retirement investing at all, but you won't be able to help it at your new job. But this pension here, so you should use that to pay off all of your debt, and don't ever take out any more. Don't. What would Dave do? Flair. That is what Dave would do. Alrighty. So that's an hour and a half. That was fun. I will be back in the morning. Normal day off tomorrow. Pay time off Tuesday and Wednesday. and working in the afternoon on Thursday and Friday. No, off Friday as well. Regular off day Friday. So just working Thursday this coming week. How about that? But still getting paid 40 hours. Excellent. Once again, I am Coach Steve Money, and I am a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you, yes, you would like to schedule a completely free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me, you can do that. That will happen via video conferencing. You can email me, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Donations, paypal.com/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, CashApp, $Coach Steve Money, or Walmart gift card to the same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com, as I catch up with the ticker. Upcoming streams, and as always, subject to change, but it really shouldn't this week. I know I've said that before, but it's really the case this time. The Ramsey Show After Show, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, and that is after the newest YouTube Ramsey Show is over. That would be Monday through Friday, November 3rd through the 7th, and the Answering Your Financial Questions streams, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, every Saturday and or Sunday. Could be one, could be the other, could be both. All right, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And go Commanders, and make smart financial decisions every day.